Fluency in English is something many people want. I remember when I was a young student, like you, I wanted to speak English well. I wanted to be fluent, but I was shy and made many mistakes. One day, a teacher said to me, "You can be fluent if you practice every day." This sentence changed my life. When you want something, you must work for it. Fluency does not come in one day, it is like planting a tree. You put the seed in the ground, water it, and give it sunshine every day. You care for it, and then one day, the tree grows big and strong. The same is true for fluency. One day, a student came to me. She was very sad. She said, "Teacher, I want to speak English, but I always forget the words." I smiled and said, "Do not worry. Fluency is not about remembering all the words, it is about practice." She looked at me with hope in her eyes. "But how can I practice?" she asked. I told her, "Practice is everywhere. You can practice by talking to your friends, by listening to stories, and by singing songs. You can practice every moment of day." I remember when I was in school. I loved stories and would listen to them every night. My teacher would read to us, and I would repeat the words. At first, I was slow, but with time, I became faster. I learned new words, and my confidence grew. Another student asked me, "Teacher, is fluency only about speaking fast?" I said, "No. Fluency is about speaking clearly. It is about making others understand you. You don't have to speak quickly, you have to speak with confidence." There was once a boy in my class who spoke very fast, but no one could understand him. I told him, "Slow down. Speak clearly. Use simple words." He listened, and soon everyone could understand him. He became more confident and enjoyed speaking in English. Fluency is like a journey. You take one step at a time. You don't rush. You enjoy the process. One day, you look back and see how far you have come. I have seen many students who were afraid to speak at first, but with time and practice, they became fluent. There is a secret to gaining fluency. It is a simple secret. The secret is to listen. Listen to others speak English. Listen to stories, listen to songs, and listen to conversations. The more you listen, the more you learn. I once knew a girl who loved music. She would listen to English songs every day. Soon, she started singing along. Her fluency improved because she was listening and repeating. Another important thing is to not be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are our best teachers. I remember a student who was very afraid of making mistakes. She would not speak because she thought others would laugh at her. I told her, "Don't worry about mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson." One day, she decided to speak in class. She made many mistakes, but she did not stop. She kept speaking, and after a while, she became better. She told me, "Teacher, I am not afraid anymore." That was the day she started to become fluent. One day, a student came to me with a book. She said, "Teacher, I read this book, but I did not understand everything." I told her, "That is okay. The more you read, the more you will understand." She continued to read every day. After some time, she came to me and said, "Now I understand much more." Her fluency improved because she was reading and learning new things every day. Fluency is also about listening to yourself. Sometimes, you need to record yourself speaking and then listen to it. See where you can improve. I once had a student who did this every day. She would record herself reading a story, then listen to the recording and find areas where she could improve. This practice made her more aware of her speech, and soon, she became fluent. Practicing with a friend is another great way to gain fluency. I had two students who were best friends. They decided to speak only in English with each other. Every day, they would have conversations in English, helping each other with words they did not know. Over time, both of them became very fluent. They learned from each other and enjoyed the process. Fluency also comes from using the language in real-life situations. When you go to the market, try to speak in English. When you are with friends, try to use English. The more you use the language, the more fluent you become. I once had a student who loved watching English movies. He would watch one movie every night. At first, he used subtitles, but after a while, he started watching without them. He enjoyed the movies, and at the same time, he was improving his fluency. Fluency is about repetition. The more you repeat, the better you become. I remember a student who loved to repeat sentences. He would hear something in class and then say it over and over again. This helped him remember the sentences, and soon he was using them in his daily conversations. Speaking with different people also helps with fluency. Every person has a different way of speaking. When you talk to different people, you learn different styles of speaking. Fluency is also about using the language in creative ways. You can write a short story, sing a song, or even make a video. I had a student who loved to write. She would write short stories in English every day. This helped her practice new words and sentences. Soon, she started reading her stories aloud, and her fluency improved. Another way to practice is by teaching others. When you teach, you learn even more. I had a student who was very fluent. She decided to help her friends who were not as fluent. She would teach them new words and practice speaking with them. This not only helped her friends but also made her even more fluent. Sometimes, it helps to have a routine. Set a time every day to practice speaking English. I had a student who would practice every morning for 30 minutes. This was his routine. He followed it every day, and soon, he became more fluent. A routine helps you stay disciplined and ensures that you practice regularly. It is also important to be patient with yourself. Fluency takes time. I had a student who was very impatient. He wanted to be fluent quickly, but when he did not see progress, he became frustrated. I told him, "Be patient. You are making progress, even if it is slow." He listened to me and continued to practice. Over time, he saw improvement and became more confident. Fluency is also about practicing what you learn. If you learn a new word today, try to use it tomorrow. I had a student who would learn a new word every day and then use it in a sentence. This practice helped him remember the words and use them naturally in conversation. Another important thing is to learn from your surroundings. Sometimes, you can learn English from signs, posters, and even menus. This helped him learn new words and phrases that he could use conversation. It is also helpful to be curious about the culture behind the language. English is spoken in many countries, and each country has its own way of speaking. I had a student who was very interested in British English. He would watch British shows and learn about their culture. This helped him understand different ways of speaking and made him more fluent. Fluency is not just about words, it is also about body language. When you speak, your body language adds meaning to your words. I had a student who was very good with body language. Even when he spoke simple sentences, his body language made him seem more fluent. This helped him communicate more effectively. Sometimes it is good to challenge yourself. Try to speak about a topic you do not know well. This helps you learn new words and ideas. I had a student who loved sports, but he decided to talk about science. At first, it was difficult, but with time, he learned new words and became more fluent in discussing different topics. Fluency is also about being persistent. Even when it is difficult, do not give up. I had a student who struggled with English for a long time. He wanted to give up many times, but he kept going. One day, he realized that he was speaking more fluently than before. His persistence paid off. Sometimes, it is good to revisit what you have learned. Go back to old lessons and review them. I had a student who would review her notes every month. This helped her remember what she had learned and made her more confident in using the language. Another important thing is to stay open-minded. Sometimes, you may hear different ways of saying the same thing. I had a student who was very curious different dialects of English. He would learn how people from different places spoke. This made him more adaptable and fluent in different situations.